if you have Cars Direct, TrueCar, or AutoWeb and you're not getting value, it's most likely your CRM is not set up correctly. Hey everybody, this is Sean B. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And this is another live podcast for the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And I got a special VIP. I've got Miss Jenna Blankenbiller, the director of dealer relations. Jenna.
Hey, thanks, Sean, for having me.
Absolutely. So today we have a special topic. The topic is be careful of distractions disguised as opportunities. It's important to have a strategy on leads, or you can waste a lot of time and money if you don't have a good lead source provider strategy. So guys, here's where this came from. As you know, Dealer Synergy has a massive outsourced call center BDC in Belize. And so we've got a lot of dealers that have agents in Belize, and we're looking at the data, and obviously we need to make appointments to get people to show up. But if you don't have the proper lead source provider strategy, what's going to wind up happening is you're going to be wasting your time. Let me explain, and then I'm going to tag Jenna in. So first and foremost, if you're trying to sell cars, and if you're trying to, sell cars more often, more profitably, but you're inundating your agent, whether they're a sales rep or BDC rep or outsourced BDC, with a bunch of random like service leads or OnStar leads or parts leads or hand raisers or acquisition, is that what the mission is? The answer is no. In my opinion, if your main strategy is that you need to sell appointments, like right now, we're going into the last month of the year. What should be happening right now is that everybody should be working through their leads that they have the highest probability of engagement and conversion. And so what I'm finding is there's a hot mess in the CRMs. We're not archiving leads. We're not deading leads. We're not marking leads sold. And part of that is for different reasons, either because the managers can't trust the salespeople and BDC reps. So there's a rule that says, you can't mark leads dead unless I look at them. Well, that's great if you ever look at them and disposition them. But if they keep piling up and piling up and piling up. So let's just say, for an example, let's say Jenna is an agent, whether she sales or BDC at a dealership, and she basically is not, able to get to real prospects to call because she's sifting through, she's searching through so many other old leads, irrelevant leads, whatever leads. So Jenna, let's start the conversation there. Am I off base or am I spot on? I mean, you ran Bob Ruth Ford's internet department and you were selling 350 units a month out of a single point Ford dealership for years. Talk to me. Am I right, wrong, your opinion?
No, Sean, you're absolutely correct. And, even just you sitting there talking about, losting a lead. Like I remember I used to have a couple people that could mark leads lost because if you don't take care of them when they're sent to you, they're going to start piling up. And then you're going to get some backlog. But you got to remember, too, depending on what status they're in, those reps might still be getting alerts and tasks sent to them. So you're bogging them down and slowing them down when they could be focusing on more fruitful things that are going to create you sales. It's kind of like you have always kind of taught everybody, keep your CRM clean and up to date so that you're working more effectively. So to your point, you're absolutely correct.
Okay, so then if that's the case, then what should they have? Okay, so it's a rhetorical question. In my opinion, whether you are a salesperson or a BDC rep, I highly suggest that your CRM should have 90 days active leads. Again, 90 days active leads. One problem that I see is there's so many dealers that say, buy or die. Here's the problem. It's called the residual flow factor. If you hold leads over 90 days, here's the facts. Fact one is that you risk being hit with the fine for non-compliancy if somebody's on the do not call registry, state or federal. I'm going to repeat that. If a prospect is on the do not call registry, state registry or federal registry, you only have 90 days that you're able to follow up with them with amnesty, which means that you don't have anything to worry about. But after 90 days, And if they are on the do not call registry, you are susceptible to $1,500 per infraction for the fine. So if you call somebody 3 times, illegally, then you might be susceptible to a $4,500 in fines. So for me, that's the main reason why it's not worth it. I don't want to have to reconcile and check anything and try to worry about compliancy in a freaking BDC or in a CRM. It's too much liability and too much risk. It's not needed. That's fact one. Fact two, as I said, every day that goes on, you lose some of the closing ratio. NADA says there's a direct correlation from response time to closing ratio. So you only want to have the hottest opportunities. So at Dealer Synergy, we recommend breaking the leads down from 31 days or less to 32 to 90. So we have 2 phases that we follow up with leads, and we recommend dealers follow up with leads. 31 days or less, which is more blitzkrieg, more methodical, more intensive. But the logic is that if we followed up with 31 straight days and we got ghosted, we're not going to disengage or throw the leads away, because we know that 54 to 58% of people will never purchase within the first 31 days. Okay, they're going to purchase between day 32 to day 90. So again, that's the second reason, is anything over 90 days, the juice is not worth the squeeze. So why keep hoarding leads over and over and over again? My rule is just to 90 days. So Jenna, how do you feel about the 90-day rule? Because there's certain people that are like, oh no, I want to keep everybody to buy or die forever.
Sean, I not only got like trained on your process when I started at Bob Ruth Ford, and we were with like the 90-day program as well, but there's a lot of truth for it. Depending on who that you talk to, they are like, oh no, I do want to keep them, but till they buy or they die. But it doesn't make sense, because that customer is going to start falling off their buying cycle. And why do you want to be focused on that long-term follow-up when, depending on your CRM that you have, you can set up automation after you market loss to re-engage that customer when they hit that buying cycle again? But let's keep focus on kind of your fresh stuff, where your biggest opportunity. And not only that, one of the biggest things that I always learned is your fresher stuff is going to be typically where your most gross is going to come from, because again, they're hot, they're in the market, but there's still an opportunity there. Closer they get to that 90-day mark, the opportunity is just not that big. But I'm so happy you brought up about not working leads over 90 days, because that was probably, Sean, one of the first things I learned from you when I started here, and I didn't know. I had no idea about it. And I mean, you said it, and you should have seen me. I literally like started picking up my phone, calling all my internet friends and reps and texting. I'm like, yo, I just learned this. FYI to you guys, like, stop working your leads over 90 days if they're on the DNC list. So thank you for, putting that on the podcast out there, because that was a big learning opportunity for me as soon as I started here.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. This is what I do. And now the next thing on this is, and this is where I might lose some people, okay? My whole thing is this: whether you're a sales rep or BDC rep, I highly suggest that you look to have a pipeline, an active lead count of 90 days or less. Now, if anything's over 90 days, it could be long-term follow-up that you could put into a tickler file or reminder or whatever, but you only want to have 90 days or less. Here's where I might lose some of you: with a phone number. What? Let me explain. In the Dealer Synergy process protocol, you should never have an active lead that is like 90 days or less, unless it has a phone number. I'm going to repeat that. If a prospect comes in and you don't have a phone number, we have a no phone number protocol, which I'm not going to go over right here, but there's about 4 things that a dealer needs to do. It's like a checklist. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and then dead the lead. So if you mark the lead lost because there is no phone number, before anybody freaks out listening to this podcast, I'm not saying delete it. I'm not saying throw it in the garbage. What I'm saying is mark it lost. Why? Because you got to understand, a CRM is just a file cabinet. It's not the end all, which means I could take that lead. Let's just use a name. Let's say that Karen Uriarty, my wife's maiden name, let's say Karen Uriarty submitted an internet purchase request on a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee, but she has no phone number in there. Why the hell do I need that lead in the CRM to be congested in my active leads if there's no phone number? Well, Sean, because we could email it. Okay, but why does it have to be in the active leads? You could put it in the dead leads. So follow my logic. If I mark the lead dead, but not at first. So listen to what I'm saying. Don't say Sean said throw away the lead. No, Sean said that he has 4 steps that he's not going to mention on this podcast episode. That's another episode, right? But for this podcast episode, just know that if we get a lead from Karen Urati, there's no phone number, we're going to check one thing, check two things, check three things, check four things. If we've done all that and we still can't get the phone number, we dead the lead, no phone number. But what I've done was in the CRM, I've created a no phone number process under dead leads. It's actually considered lost leads, right? So if you're in VinSolutions, for example, there's a lost lead process. What it says is this, and I quote, "This lead is now marked dead, but don't worry, it's still 100% active. It just lives in the dead folder or the dead back end." But remember, there's no phone number. So an agent doesn't need to know this. As long as we have a library of predetermined awesome email templates, plain text email templates, HTML graphic templates, hell, even video emails. Think about this. I could turn around and mark a person dead, no phone number, but have day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, etc., all have automatic emails. Let me explain. Just because the lead is in a dead folder or dead category doesn't mean that the CRM can't or shouldn't still follow with that prospect. I just don't want to have a lead considered active unless it has a phone number. Sean, why? Because I could turn around, as long as there's an email address, we could program in the CRM an automated email deployment. I'm gonna explain this again. Let's use this scenario. Karen Uriarty submits an internet purchase request on a 2025 Jeep Wrangler, and there's no phone number. I go through my 4 different things to try to find the phone number. I can't. I mark the lead dead, but I have a CRM process for dead leads with no phone number. It says, even though this is dead, I want, the CRM to deploy day 1, email 1, day 2, email 2, day 3, email 3, day 4, email 4, day 5, email 5, day 6, and so on and so forth. So you can still have an automatic CRM email protocol. I'm going to repeat that. You can still have an automatic CRM protocol for emails, even in a dead category. Now, the cool part is even if it's in the lost category or the dead category, if a prospect responds to the automated email templates, guess what? It's going to get resurrected on the dashboard under replies. Wherever you go during the day to find you've got mails and find your email replies, if somebody replies to an automated email coming from the lost file or the dead folder, they could get resurrected on your dashboard. So think about it. What that does is that cleans things up. I mean, if you're a salesperson, BDC or manager, wouldn't it be freaking amazing that you could just log into your CRM and you click all active leads? And if you've got 200 active leads, then hey, I got 200 active leads that are 90 days or less old, and they have a phone number. My God, how awesome is that to manage, to develop strategy, to engagement? If I clean up my CRM, I have less crap that I have to sift through. I have less garbage, less filler, less random things to be able to find. Jenna, what do you think about that strategy?
I want to pinpoint a couple things that you had said. Do not make the lead bad. You need to mark that lead lost. And having an automatic email drip campaign that does it for you in that lost file is going to save you time, because for the people who are like, I just want to keep the lead active and email it, that's going to take more time from you, because there's no magic email that's going to have that customer engage with you. So take all those templates that you're just going to select anyways, have them be in that lost file, that drip campaign that you're going to create, and let the system do it for you. Because once that customer responds and comes back alive, and a BD agent, a salesperson, manager, whoever, someone's going to get that response back. And whatever CRM you use, then you reactivate it, because now you have a live person at the end of the email.
Jenna, 100% you get it. Now, the next thing is this. Well, if somebody says, I want to email them, why? You've got to stop respecting email. 98% of all email is spam. Google it. 98% of all email is spam. And you want to play with spam and you want to play with emails. Emails have only a 2 to 4% read open rate. So you're telling me you'd rather have your agents, your salespeople, your BDC reps sit there and customize a personal email message, knowing that 98% of people or 96% of people are never going to open it, never going to read it, never going to care. So we want to waste all their time doing that. That makes no sense. What I'm saying is let's delegate all emails for email only prospects to be handled by the CRM in an automated capacity. That way, that frees up your humans, your real people, your
Yep, yep.
salespeople, your BDC rep, your managers to do higher level activities like phone calls, like voicemail messages, like video emails, like video text messages, like social media DMs, Facebook DM, TikTok DM, Instagram TM, WhatsApp DM, etc., or sending e-cards or Apple FaceTimes. See, what you want to be able to do is delegate and allocate activities, tasks and activities that the CRM could do independently without your humans. And you want to have your humans working on things that are only going to yield the highest probability of engagement and conversion. So to me, this is a very, very powerful strategy. Next is this. There is an exception.
The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is on your radio.
This episode is brought to you by Podium. Here's a question. How much would your business change if you had one more employee who worked 24/7 to turn every lead, including the ones that come in after hours, into a test drive, sale, and more money for your dealership? Meet Jerry, Podium's new AI BDC. Jerry is a lead conversion powerhouse designed to respond instantly to every incoming lead, to answer questions accurately, keep leads warm, and schedule test drives, all without direct human supervision. And the best part, with a seamless handoff to staff on the sales floor, customers will never know they were interacting with an AI to begin with. See how Podium's AI BDC can help you sell more cars by visiting podium.com/MCS. That's podium.com/MCS, or click the link in the show notes below.
Okay, there is an exception. Sean, are you telling me that you should only ever have leads that are 90 days or less? No, that's what I'd say the vast majority would be. Here's the exception. I am okay with there being leads that are older than 90 days that are active, but here's the caveat. There has to be engagement in the last 30 days. So I'm going to repeat that. You want to have active leads that are 90 days or less old unless there's been engagement in the last 30 days for two reasons. Why the hell do we need to have a lead that's 7 months old or 6 months old if there hasn't been any type of conversation or engagement in the last 30 days? The answer is there is no reason. We're just hoarding things at that point. And then talk about this. Well, same thing with, so Sean, you're telling me that we should never have any lead that's active unless there's a phone number? No, that's the majority. Here's the exception. Only if there's been engagement. So here's how it goes. If Karen Urardi submits an internet purchase request on the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee and we try to find the phone number and they don't, we're going to mark it lost because in our Dealer Synergy protocol, we have a complete 90-day mapped out for just email protocol, right? So what's going to happen is this. Let's say that like day 1, day 2, day 5, Karen responds to one of those email templates from the CRM's automation and says, look, man, I don't want to talk to you. I just want to communicate through email. Totally fine. But do you see, because it's engagement, I don't mind for the agent to turn around and work on it, but only if there's engagement. So if there's no engagement, the rule is really simple. 90 days or less is what it's got to be active. But if there's engagement, I'm okay if it's over 90 days old, and I'm okay if it's email only if there's engagement. Any questions of that? Any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I do want to ask your opinion because I've heard some people give different analogies for this, or different answers, I should say. If So I'm a lead and I'm 88 days old and I start communicating with you. And I know that lead in my system is going to get marked lost at 90 days. Would you just continue that active lead or would you create a whole new one and start that person's cycle over again?
Okay, Jenna, you know the rules. Okay. So with the dealer synergy system, we have it broken down to four main categories. 31 days or less contacted, 32 to 90 contacted, 31 days or less not contacted, 32 to 90 not contacted, right? So
Right.
what you just said is this: if the lead is 88 days old and there's contacted, what happens? Okay, so that would be in 32 to 90 contacted. And when you're in any contacted, right or wrong, don't we have a protocol that is on a case by case basis from that point?
Mhm.
You
Yes,
understand?
correct.
And so follow me on that. What I would say to you in the legitimate dealer synergy thing is if you just ask me that question, I would say, Jenna, this is where you have to use common sense and training. If you are 88 days old and you finally made connection, you need to change the status in the CRM to 32 to 90 contacted. And then you
Mhm.
schedule the next action. Depending on what was said in that conversation, your next follow-up might be in 5 days, which is going to turn around and go from 88 to what?
Yeah, 93.
So, and then on day 93, depending on what happens, you're going to schedule the next action.
Yeah.
So you could turn around and decide that, hey, this is still worth my time. I'm going to schedule this for 3 days, 5 days, or 10 days. But then at some point, you're going to be like, okay, this person disappeared again, and you could end it. So the whole point is, let me just explain what Jenna's asking is this. You're not supposed to just dead somebody because it's a stupid time. That's absurd. What we're doing is we're giving you guidelines. If there is no communication, it should be deaded after 90 days. If there's any engagement, it doesn't matter if it's day 1 or day 90, not just 88, then it's on a case by case basis. The lead could be active for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, as long as there's intelligence to this. Because you and I know, Jenna, that the majority of people are just going to put it on autopilot, set it and forget it. And it's just
Mhm.
hoarding and hoarding and hoarding. I am not going to throw something out if there's meat on the bone or if there's an opportunity. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, and that's really helpful because, like I said, some people are like, "Oh no, bring it to as a fresh lead, start the whole cycle all over again."
No, absolutely not. No, again, think about it. Because in our system at Dealer Synergy, once there's contacted, what happens? It kills all the automation. It kills all the tasks and activities to the agent or the salesperson. And it also kills all the automation. So what is left over? Whether it's 31 days or less or 32 to 90, is it not on a case by case basis? It's only
Yes.
dependent on what the agent sets as the next activity. And if the agent feels that there's meat on the bone, there's an opportunity there, they could elongate that for however long that they see. But they don't have to keep themselves hostage or keep the prospect hostage just because it's X amount of days. Does that clear that?
Correct. Yeah, that does. And like I always looked at it too, like if you sold that lead and it was 96 years old, don't you want that to reflect in your data that you're going to look at?
Hell yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, you're 100% spot on there. So let's now go into the next aspect of this, okay? And I kind of started on this. So now that we know that the leads, see, and the reason why this is important and why we are shooting this podcast today about this is because if I got dealers that are drowning. They've got one agent that's got 500 leads. Guys, can you imagine if it's only like December 1st is in a couple days? Can you imagine if you are a BDC rep or a salesperson and you have 150, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,500 leads in your file? How the hell are you going to effectively follow up with those people? How are you going to effectively, if anything, you are just touching, 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 touching. You are not cultivating, massaging, following up, engaging people. You're just sprinkling them with follow up because you're hitting a point of diminishing return. So I need you to know that it's not cool to have a gazillion leads. So there's only two reasons why you have a gazillion leads or more. Let me tell you how many leads a BDC rep, not even a salesperson, because a BDC rep doesn't have to do product presentation, demonstration, drive, delivery. So if you are a BDC rep and you don't have to do a product presentation, demonstration, drive, delivery, or move cars around or shovel snow in Pennsylvania, for example, if you're brand new or you're underperforming, it should be 80 to 100 leads per agent fresh. If you are average, 100 to 120 leads fresh. If you are above average, 120, 150 leads. Honestly, even Sean Bradley at my level with 26 years doing this, I would never have more than 175 fresh leads. Why? Because we're not counting in phone ups. And if you don't take phone ups, okay, what about your carryover leads? The average buying cycle is 90 days. So if I'm getting 150 to 200 fresh leads a month, I probably have at least 150 to 300 carryover leads. So let me just say this. If I get 150 to 200 fresh leads, which is way too much, which a lot of you have, how many active leads do you have? 400 to 500 in your file? How in the hell in an 8-hour day, even if you're not doing product presentation, demonstration, drive, delivery, are you going to handle 400, 500, 600 leads in your file? And here's what's worse. Pay attention. Listen, turn up the volume in your car. Turn the volume up on the radio. Turn it up. Listen to me. I'm gonna give you some good shit right here. Ready? What about when you're not there? What about on your day off or your shift off? Or if you get sick, or if you've got to do mommy and daddy, parent teacher night, or you're having a date night, or you're going to a sports thing, or you got to go to motor vehicles, or you're just playing hooky from work, man. Like, keep it honest. What happens to all of those leads, AKA buyers, prospects? They just sit there and ferment. No, Sean, our other BDC, no, they don't. They have just as many leads. Your other salespeople or BDC reps do not have time to go into all of your leads that are there. Jenna, let's talk about that. Am I right or wrong?
You are 100% correct on that.
Talk to people about the delusion of thinking that reps could go into other reps' files. Explain why that's not realistic.
So it's not realistic because, like you even just said, they're going to have their own leads that they're going to have to work as well. And now if you have a rep doing double time, they're getting bogged down. And they're not able to do that. Hopefully you have a manager that can step in and fill that void. But, even a manager is going to have other responsibilities and things to do throughout the day. So they're not getting through that whole CRM of that rep who called off sick, didn't show, or is on vacation. But those are opportunities that you can't just let sit there.
100%. So I'm going to go back on this and say that what I think is imperative is that there's got to be management on the CRM and the active leads. Managers need to make sure, whether it's the internet director, the GSM, the sales manager, whomever's in charge at your organization needs to make sure, like air traffic control, that the planes are being grounded, they're in the air, they're not crashing into each other. So that means that if leads are dead, they need to be deaded. If they're old, they need to be archived. If people are coming in for appointments, they need to be marked appointments. If they're missed, they need to be marked missed and rescheduled. If we are not actively, fluidly managing the statuses and the things, you're going to pile up and pile up and pile up, and it's going to bog you down, and it's going to compromise the success, of the initiative. In addition to that, if you think that your other employees could help into those people's files, they are not going to have the time. So what I would say is, if you're drowning, you either need to scale back your leads, which makes no sense for me. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many dealers that don't have leads, that don't have opportunities to do business. And here you are having a tremendous amount of leads, but you're burning through them. You're congesting your people. So then again, outsource BDC is one of the best things that you could do. This is the reason why we created, our outsourced BDC in Belize. We have a 55,000 square foot facility, a 2,000 agent facility, 2,000 employees, okay, in Belize. And we are, doing this for a reason. You don't have to use our BDC, but I'm saying you need to use somebody's. You either need to have the right amount of staff at your dealership to handle your lead volume properly, or you need to find an outsource, strategy. Because if not, you're going to be drowning people on your leads. And can you imagine? There's a lot of clients, Jenna, that don't have BDC reps. They don't have internal BDC reps. They don't. And so what you're saying with all these leads, that your people need to do product presentation, demonstration drive, delivery, move inventory, shovel snow, and then on top of all that, handle all the fresh leads and carryover leads. And oh, by the way, there's 7 other ways to sell cars: walk-in spots, be back, phone ups, service conversions, prior customers, orphan owners, referrals, the lost art of prospecting. So what I'm saying, there is a tremendous amount of things for a salesperson to do. And sometimes dealers don't realize this. So they just pile stuff on and pile stuff on and pile stuff on and pile stuff on. So if you're going to do that, then you better be sure that your CRM is clean. It's not congested. It's not, overrun with overdue tasks and leads and stuff like that. Jenna, anything else you want to add to that before I transition to the next part of this stuff?
Yeah. So what would you kind of suggest? You were talking about piling on and whatnot, and I feel like our BD departments do get a lot of work piled onto them, especially like they have their own leads to maintain, but then you have that salesperson that comes and says, hey, I am delivering 3 cars. I can't get to any of my leads. Can you work them for me? Well, aren't we being counterproductive in a little bit? Because your BDC now has to stop their leads of 200 plus opportunities that haven't been into the dealership to work a salesperson's lead. What's your opinion on that? I don't think that makes sense.
No, of course. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make dollars. I mean, Jenna, you were a high level, internet director and a sales executive that basically took a store from 75 units to 350. So you're spot on. But again, people are doing crazy, kooky things there. Let me now get into what I touched in when we first started talking. So let's just say that everybody's tracking what I'm saying right now, right? The next thing is going to be, okay, if you are a sales rep or BDC rep, what leads should you be handling?
Car Salesman Podcast is on your radio.
This has been the most in-depth training I've had in my lot of years in the car business.
We went from 60 cars to 156 cars a month in 3 months.
NAMAD, the entire Toyota Chicago region, as well as the top automotive groups like Koons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their team.
They're the most comprehensive training company I've seen, and they by far have the best support system.
Doing 50 cars a month, topped out at 80. I can tell you that the Bradley On Demand training will get you to the next level.
And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand.
What I learned from Bradley On Demand is you can teach an old dog new tricks. I thought I knew it all.
I thought it was just going to be the same old stuff. It's all new. It's all fresh. It's genuine material.
Bradley On Demand is just an incredible power tool. Every dealer should take advantage of that.
Our clients love Bradley On Demand. We've generated over $12 billion of additional revenue for our clients.
Went from selling 75 internet leads to we've hit almost 250 the last couple months.
I doubled my income. I sold 21 cars for 4 months straight.
If you're still not enrolled in Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on the best virtual automotive training in the world. Enroll now or contact us for a free test drive of the platform today.
So if it's just internet purchase requests, internet leads, then that's all that you should get. You shouldn't be getting service leads. You shouldn't be getting orphan owner leads. You shouldn't be getting, whatever type of leads that are randomly, in there. And that's usually for one of 3 reasons. A, the CRM was never set up the correct way in the CRM processes for lead routing and lead distribution. So you might be getting those there. That's the first reason. Second reason might be because of high turnover in the dealership. If somebody was working there that had these leads or had this category and they're not there, if you don't have a proper transition strategy or orphan strategy, they might be incorrectly, unintentionally, or intentionally dropped into this person's file, messing things up. Or third, if everything was set up the correct way, but the agent is not using the right statuses, the right processes, and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, it could cause a traffic jam and it could cause leads being piled up or routed the wrong way. So it's one of those 3 reasons, but what you want to be able to do is look at this. So let's recap. You want to theoretically have leads that are only active for the last 90 days with the phone number, unless there's been engagement in the last 30 days. That's fact 1. Fact 2 is you want to be able to have leads that are going to be specific to what the protocol or the job description of the agent or agents are. I think that's important. And we could get into lead routing, but in a BDC, I don't think for a second, Jenna, that it's healthy at all to just dump all this stuff or vomit internet sales, phone ups, data mining, equity mining, lease retention, special finance, acquisition to like agents. Even if you had 5 to 10 agents in there, I would never have them doing a little bit of everything. That is the worst thing that you can do. What I would do is if you had 5 to 10 agents, I would segregate and segment them. So under one BDC, I might have 2 or 3 agents that are just doing internet leads and phone ups. I might have 2 agents that are just doing unsold showroom traffic. I might have, 3 agents that are just doing data mining, equity mining, lease retention, or what have you. I might have 1 agent doing acquisition. I'm just making this up. And I'm not saying that the number distribution is correct. I'm just giving you an example that you should have people specializing with those type of leads. Why? Because you're going to increase your probability of success. Because, okay, option 1, it's just common sense. Let's use a small number. If I got 5 agents, how am I going to have more success? Dumping all internet leads, phone ups, beadbacks, lease retention, data mining, acquisition. If I'm gonna dump all that to 5 agents to handle equally, or if I specialize, I have people just working on those categories. Of course, people that are specializing, because they're not going to dilute their effectiveness, they're not going to dilute their memory, they're not going to dilute their training, they're not going to dilute their execution. Instead of trying to memorizing 4, 5, 6 different strategies, 4 or 5, 6 different word tracks, 4 or 5 different protocols, they could just master 1 or 2 things and get into rhythm. Talk about that.
No, I agree with you, because like if you have a BD rep that is really good at new cars and they're selling the most new car leads, why don't allocate those leads to that person? The same thing with your special finance. If you have a BD rep that is giving that tender loving care, that special finance lead, again, allocate that lead to them. Set your department up for success. You shouldn't just have everything go across the board, because you're going to have different processes for every different new car lead, used cars. Maybe you have a special bargain hill car, or you have, your trades. You have to have segregated lead sources for those, because you can't have everyone memorizing every different process you have, because there's too much room for error there.
Yes, and I'm going to circle back to that because it's called intelligent lead routing. I'm going to add 2 more things and we're going to circle back to that. So remind me about the intelligent lead routing. So what I was going to say also, Jenna, is what I'm finding is that there's these leads, especially like the acquisition leads or the trade-in leads or credit applications, not special finance leads, but just credit apps. I don't believe that those should be going to the BDC reps or the salespeople at first. I think that, you should get those to the appropriate parties. For me, sales manager F&I should be getting credit applications. The used car manager or sales manager should be getting the acquisitions. Unless you've got a VBC, which is called a vehicle buying center, which is like a BDC, but instead of selling cars, it's a BDC to buy cars, and they're trained accordingly. How would you and why would you give an acquisition lead to a regular BDC rep or salesperson that doesn't understand market conditions, auctions, and what vehicles are in demand, what people are searching, what people are looking for? It makes no sense. You should turn around and have the salespeople or BDC rep focusing first on sales opportunities. And if they're stable and they got all that, then they could get tier 2 opportunities. Does that make sense?
But what if I'm a finance manager or a sales manager and I'm too busy, I can't work leads? Where do they send them then?
Okay, there's two different thoughts here. Okay, you could do this the right way, or you could do this the cheap way and make excuses. The right way is either hire another in-house person to handle it, or outsource it. But regardless, how is it that we spend $65,000 a month in advertising and less than $1,000 in training, development, and then we're going to spam our employees with unrealistic expectations? How about cut some of your lead source provider budget out? Let's cut some of your marketing out and put another body, but not a random body, a strategic body with strategic purpose and strategic training. Again, why spend $65,000 a month on throwing shit against the wall that we can't even handle because we don't have enough people, enough training around, the right CRM process? I say that's the right way to do it, is hire the right person or outsource. The secondary thing, the cheap, frugal excuse way is, okay, if your managers can't do it, then I much rather give it to a salesperson, and then allow the BDC rep to do what they do. Why? Because a salesperson should have more experience, more skills, more knowledge than the average BDC rep. And if you don't, then something's broken in your store. Just saying.
Agreed.
Makes sense?
Agreed. Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay, now the other thing that I'm finding is if the dealership doesn't have good leads, what I mean by that is if they're getting a bunch of leads without a phone number, or they're getting a bunch of these, Facebook leads or whatever, not all leads are created equal. You got to understand something, folks. There's new car purchase requests from third-party providers. There's used car purchase requests from third-party providers and online classifieds. And, so the categories are third-party lead source provider, online classifieds, and third-party aggregators. Plus, you've got dealership website leads and you got OEM leads. So you've got to look at your leads and say, okay, are we getting the right leads and the right amount of leads from our OEM? It's either yes or no. Then you got to say, am I getting the right amount of leads and the right quality leads from my dealership website? And how do you get that? Organically and through digital marketing. It's either yes or no. And are you signed up with all of the right third-party providers and online classifieds? The third-party lead source providers. And I'm going to show you some of these people that I'm going to mention. Not at first. These people, I like all these people. Like my favorites are TrueCar, Cars Direct, and AutoWeb. Right? But you've got Cars Direct, you got AutoWeb, and you got TrueCar. Those are the only 3 new car providers out that are left. Again, Cars Direct, AutoWeb, and TrueCar. Separate from that, you have some online classifieds. Some of the people I'm going to mention, I don't like. Some of them I do, but I'm going to give you the list of what's trending. So you've got obviously Autotrader.com, you've got Kelley Blue Book, you've got Cars.com, you've got Car Gurus, you've got Edmunds.com, and then you got like Carfax a little bit. So then you've got membership buying programs like Costco, Sam's Club, BJ's. They have membership buying programs. So those are third-party providers, online classifieds, and membership buying programs. These people are leads. Then you've got another category of leads. You've got special finance leads. You've got Auto Credit Express. And then you've got carloan.com, which is 1-800, Carloan, which is Interactive Financial. And then you've got like Capital One mailers, or Capital One leads. You've got, some of these banks like Santander and et cetera, that you could do, special finance lead source providers. So understand there's a myriad of different ways and different type of leads. So if your people, just because you've got a bunch of leads and a big chunk of them are duplicate leads because your CRM process sucks, how's that going to help you? If you're trying to hold your salespeople accountable, or your consulting company accountable for that matter, and all you're doing is drowning them with trade-in leads or acquisition leads or credit apps, then it's not going to work. So you got to begin with the end result in mind. What type of sales are you looking for? A new car sale, a used car sale, a special finance sale? And then reverse engineer. If you want new cars, then you got to sign up with new car lead source providers. And a lot of you out there think that you have lead source providers, and you don't have any lead source providers. You have online classifieds, which are just digital newspapers. For example, if you guys do not have Cars Direct or TrueCar or AutoWeb, then guess what? You don't have any third-party lead source providers. You probably have online classifieds, which are completely different. They're different model, different structure, different accountability, and different value. So it is extremely important to understand the difference. Jenna?
Sean, I feel like all the time when we talk to dealers, they're like, what's the magic lead source? Is there a magic lead source out there that they can sign up with and sell a car every time a lead comes in?
Okay, I'm going to just say this to you very sincerely. I've written articles about this. I shot videos about this. Here's the reality. There are opportunities to do business. Do you know what I mean? Like a real third-party provider, not the online classified. The online classifieds are crushing dealers. They're crushing them because they're flat rates and there's no guarantees. And we try to hold them accountable. They're like, oh, I'm not a lead source provider. I'm an online classified. You know what I mean? And that's the bullshit that you get, right? And which I can't stand how they take advantage of dealers. But third-party providers, you should be on with all of them. And guys, I don't make $1, for example, when TrueCar, I don't care. I don't get $1 from TrueCar. I don't get any referrals. I don't get $1 from Cars Direct or any referrals. I get none of that. So I'm giving you free information. You know what I mean? They don't sponsor this podcast. They don't sponsor my Millionaire Car Salesman group. I'm giving them free advertisement right now, which I shouldn't, but I'm answering your question. So these companies on average only charge $20, $22, or $25 per lead. And if a dealer says all those leads suck, look at yourself first. I am positive that the majority of times, if you don't get value from a third-party provider, I'm talking about only Cars Direct, AutoWeb, or TrueCar. I'm not talking about everybody else because that's different. But if you have Cars Direct, TrueCar, or AutoWeb and you're not getting value, it's most likely your CRM is not set up correctly. You don't have the automation. You're not using AI for engagements. You don't have enough people. You don't have the right people. You're not training your people, or they're not following the yellow brick road, the process. I'm telling you, 75 to 85% of the time that there's a new car problem, it's not the lead source provider. These people are not pirates. They've been in business for 25 to 30 plus years. I mean, like, either we're freaking stupid as hell in this industry that we haven't gotten forks like Shrek and run them out. Like, how does Cars Direct, or TrueCar, a publicly traded company, and that we're sitting here bashing them when all they are opportunities to do business? The average prospect, on the internet is searching 9 to 11 dealership websites. There is very little exclusivity or individual. I don't care about that. I don't give a shit if somebody's going to, Cars Direct and they find me and they find 5 other dealerships. I just want my lead, my opportunity to do business, because I'm positive that most dealers suck. Their CRMs suck. And so I just need my fair shot. And if my CRM is set up the right way, I've got the right people with the right process, and I execute without exception, without fail, I'm going to sell a ton of appointments. I'm going to sell a ton of cars. So for me, the lead source providers, I'd say get all of them. Now when we get into the online classifieds, I have concerns for all of them. All of them, are taking advantage to some degree. I'm going to put them on here. Kelley Blue Book, I have problems with. Auto Trader, I've got problems with. Car Gurus, I have a ton of problems with, and I've gone to the matches with them online, fighting for dealers as your advocate. Edmunds.com and Kelley Blue Book, I just mentioned, and Carfax, because what they tell dealers is this: we are not a lead source provider. So I've got a dealership that I'm going to tell you right now in Pennsylvania was spending $5,732 with Cars.com. $5,732 on Cars.com to generate 21 leads. So let's just do that. $5,732 divided by 21. It's $272 per lead. And then when I hold them up on this, I hold them accountable. They're like, we're not a lead source provider. We offer phone ups. How many phone ups? 10. So I'm paying $5,700 for 10 phone ups. Get the hell out of here. Oh, we provide emails. How many? 11. Okay, I'm spending $5,700 for 11 emails? No, we have site links. We have all these views and SRPs. That's the bullshit that these companies keep peddling to everybody, is we have VDPs and SRPs. Okay, there is some value, but guess what? You can't sell a car to a VDP. You can't sell a car to SRP. You can't sell a car to a view.
Hey, Sean, let's run it back to season 6. So we gon' hold the vendor feet to the fire for that ROI. We gon' see if you lie. We naming names, dog. We ain't scared of nobody. And we ain't playing, y'all. Something gotta change, y'all. Gone are the days that you said you provide us with VDPs and SRPs, man. We need real life customer connections, cause everything else, it ain't BS, just extra.
So the challenge is, I keep trying to tell these companies that if you think of Maslow, the brilliant guy that said that there's a hierarchy of needs from human beings, starting with food, air, water, shelter, etc. And then the last thing is love and self-actualization. Well, tell someone that's freaking drowning about, feeling accepted in the community. They're not going to give a shit. They want to get some air. That's my point here. So yes, VDPs and SRPs do have value, but not at first. At first, you need leads. You need phone numbers and emails of people that want to buy a car. And here's the other thing. All those VDPs and SRPs are predicated upon one thing. What? If the dealership has a good website that's not a BS cookie cutter website that has high bounce rates and low time on site. Let me be crystal clear. If you have one of these basic websites that a lot of dealers have that have 30 to 40% bounce rate, that means if you spend $10,000 a month to drive traffic through PPC, SEO, SEM, social media paid ads, I'm going to repeat that. If you've got a 40% bounce rate, you spend $10,000, $4,000 from the rip is thrown in the toilet every single month. So do you understand? And I don't want to mention the dealer's name, but this is somebody that you're very close with. They have 4 stores. 2 of them are contracted to us. One store is spending $5,700 on Cars.com to get 21 leads. But here's what I would say. It's really simple. All you out there in podcast land, do this. Look at all of your bills. Reconcile. What are you getting from AutoTrader? What are you getting from Cars.com? What are you getting from Carfax? What are you getting from Car Gurus? What are you getting from Edmunds.com, etc.? Again, just simple math. How much are you spending and how many email leads and phone ups that you get? Throw away those VDPs and SRPs. They're not important. I'm telling you, not at first. You need opportunities to do business. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. Oh, and you're wondering, well, Sean, that dealership that you just told us they're spending $5,700 on Cars.com to only get 21 leads. Well, what if they're driving all these VDPs and SRPs? Great question. Well, guess what? That same dealership was spending 25 grand on their websites and everything to drive traffic to their website. And guess how many total leads they got? About 157. So let me just do this right now. If you take $25,000, divide that by 157 leads, the average cost per lead is $159. But let's also add in those $5,700 because supposedly Cars.com is saying those VDPs and SRPs are driving traffic to the website. So if I take the $25,000 from the website plus $5,732 from Cars.com, I'm spending $30,735 still to only drive 157 leads. It's still out of the ballpark. Do you understand that, guys? It's a waste of time and money. Jenna, did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think when you were saying, like, how are you handling the leads? It makes a lot of sense. You got to look at your content. You got to look at your messages. You got to include your lead source provider when you're reaching out and introduce yourself on behalf of them and the dealership that you work for to connect everything together. So no, you're absolutely right when it comes to how are you handling those leads, and that's why they're not working.
And look, I know this is a lot of information, but this is super high level. I've got 26 plus years experience on this. Jenna's got almost 14 years experience on this and on the front lines. And she ran a department that was selling 350 units out of a single 0.4 dealership's internet department in a town that only had 2,500 residents in it. So you are talking to two high level, highly experienced people. And the bottom line is this: if you want to get the most production in this, your CRM needs to be set up the right way, for lead volume and intelligent lead routing, like we were talking about. And you need to make sure that you have the right lead source providers, the right online classifieds, because all of that is going to determine if your agent, whether they're BDC rep or salespeople, are successful or they're spinning their wheels and they're not going. Because if the CRM is not set up correctly, if there's leads spilling all over the place and we're hoarding them, if we don't have the right leads, the right amount of leads, etc., all of this is important. And dealers wonder why they're not selling cars. Well, listen to this episode a couple times. Jenna, would you have any last things you want to say?
No, I think we covered it all. I got a lot of information. I'm sure everybody listening got a lot of information. This was really helpful. I'm glad that we did this, Sean.
Let's do more. I want to do this at least once a month with you. I want to just, go back and forth about high level ad director, BDC director things. So Jenna, can you tell everybody if they want to get a hold of you to get some just free advice or free strategy session or pick your brain, how can people reach you?
Yeah, you can email me at jenna@dealersynergy.com. You can give me a call, 717-460-6653 and reach out. I'm happy to help.
Perfect. I really appreciate you, Jenna, taking the time, and everybody in podcast land. I appreciate you. Happy holidays, and let's sell some more cars. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Fast response times can help you beat the dealer down the street. Get a tool that can respond to your leads in 15 seconds or less and help you book test drives 24/7, nights and weekends, so you can sell more cars. Podium's AI BDC is a conversational AI employee who sells, schedules, and talks with customers day and night and sounds like your best sales rep. Transform potential interest into sales today with Podium. Visit podium.com/MCS to see what AI can do for your dealership. That's podium.com/MCS or click the link in the show notes.